As a longtime player of Destiny, I have a deep connection to this game. I've been playing since the open beta in the summer of 2014, and I've been through all the highs and lows of this community. From Cursed, Forsaken, Beyond Light to Witch Queen, I've never lost confidence in Bungie's ability to do right by the players. That is, until now. Recent events have me concerned about the state of the game and Bungie's ability and willingness to do right by its players. There are a number of problems that need to be addressed, including rampant server issues, false bans of players, a lack of accountability from the studio that leads to situations where developers are getting ratioed by the president of Blizzard. Creators are also speaking out in droves about the state of the game, endgame PvE activities, Crucible, asinine price increases to all future content, and in-game microtransactions without any promise of quality. Not to mention the seasonal model, which has been slowly rotting the core of Destiny since 2019. It's hard for me to put on my rose-tinted glasses and sweep my concern to the run getting longer, but I believe that Destiny is on a collision course with disaster without a conductor with a vision to pump the brakes in time to save it. And that the decisions that Bungie are making are putting the game at risk. So today, I'm going to discuss my thoughts and concerns on what I think the state of Destiny 2 is in, and that state is poor. Starting off with the servers. The servers are the backbone of running a live service game, and every single day you see countless error codes, players getting booted from activities, players' solo flawless dungeons, raids, and trials cards being lost due to Bungie's inability to keep the game functioning at a basic level for more than 24 hours at a time. Just imagine for a second here. You get home from work or school, or you play Destiny as a job, like some of these fine people whose clips I'm using today are. You're doing a challenge. You're just playing the game as normally, and then suddenly, poof, gone, disconnected from the game. Error code, chicken, weasel, rat, duck, something cute, something small that tells you that your time isn't being respected by the company. All of this being said, because you're a busy person, are you going to waste your time and continue to try to play a game that the servers cannot remain stable on? No, you're just going to go pick something else. Hours of your life were wasted just as another sacrifice to the server gods. Take this for example. One of my favorite Crucible content creators playing Trials as you do, and then he has his game ruined by a cheater. The third flawless ticket in a row. Now look at this one. We have a clip of verified Trials cheaters. This is indisputable evidence of them cheating, and they've been online for over 4 weeks now. They are still not banned as of the time I'm making this video. With the server issues and cheating, it didn't used to be this bad. I, for one, distinctly remember a time as short as 6 months ago, during Season of Plunder and Seraph, when the game shutdowns and emergency maintenance were exceedingly rare, to the tune of 4 times a year. And now you can't go a single week without significant downtime, whether it be Tuesdays on reset or just in the middle of the week when somebody decides that they want to break the game by generating 1 orb of power too many. Destiny 2 is in significant need of drastic investment in server either capacity, capability, or just redoing the entire damn thing from the ground up to make sure that this game can run smoothly for 24 hours at a time. It's like at this point, you almost expect the game to be down instead of being up. Like, I'm trying to go record footage for this video as I'm speaking right now, and I can't even get into the game to play. I've been trying to make this for a while now, and every time I go to record, I can't. Update, as I'm recording this, Bungie's put out a good thread on what the problems with the servers have been since the launch of Lightfall and what they're doing to fix it. I'll link it into the description. Good read, and it's a good look for Bungie, not treating the players as if we're stupid. Finally, we get something that shows us they think we can understand a more complex answer other than game development hard, like a certain someone on Twitter likes to use. Since 2020, Destiny's core game modes have lost more content than they have received. The state of these game modes, that being Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit, have been neglected, ignored, and quite frankly abandoned for every other seasonal topic of the day that Bungie feels is the future of the content delivery for this franchise. Starting off with Strikes. Strikes used to be the backbone of Destiny 1's content. You loaded with yourself or a couple buddies, you have a quick little bit of fun that rewarded you with something tangible at the end with a chance of getting something special in between, like strike-specific gear or drops. Destiny 1 had 17 of these strikes, and most of them were great. Destiny 2, on the other hand, has 25s. So you think to yourself, hey, it's pretty good, right? More equals better? Well, no, that's wrong, because if you look very carefully, of the 25 strikes that have been introduced into Destiny 2, 9 of them were taken away during the Great Content Vault tragedy of 2020, making so that in Destiny 2, in the year 2023, there is less strike content to play currently than in Destiny 1. Of the 16 strikes that are still in the game, 3 of them are just remakes from Destiny 1, so since 2020, there's only been 5 unique strikes added to the game. That's less than 2 per major DLC drop. It's shameful treatment of an activity that used to be one of the core PvE gameplay experiences, a broken pillar of Destiny, if you will. Not only have the strike drops become less frequent and less substantial, the gear obtained from them also isn't anything to write home about either. It used to be back in Destiny 1, every single strike, with the exception of one, had a unique gear to chase. The abandonment of strike-specific loot during Shadowkeep is something that the playlist has never been able to recover from. Every strike is just like the other, meaningless fodder. There is no reason to play any specific strike over another one, with the exception of 7 pre-Shadowkeep that still have the chance to drop something unique even if it is Sunset. That's 7 out of 16 strikes that are actually worth the time to load into and play. In Destiny 1, 16 out of the 17 strikes were worthwhile to grind because of the chance for unique gear at the end of them. Somewhere along the line, Destiny 2 shifted from a token-based economy to a reputation-based economy for strikes. That is the only aspect of Destiny 2 strikes that are superior to Destiny 1, because no matter what, realistically, your time is going to be rewarded with reputation that can be converted to gear, upgrade materials, chances for exotics, ascendant shards, and the ritual weapons that reset once per season. Because strikes have been so neglected in favor of battlegrounds, Bungie have updated the strike playlist so that battleground activities are available at the same time. So most of the time when you load into a strike playlist, by selecting the quote-unquote new Vanguard operations, it's artificial content filler. Bungie wastes their time making seasonal content just to remove it from the game as soon as a new expansion is dropped, only to reuse some of the worst PvE activities that have ever graced Destiny. This isn't even mentioning Nightfalls, which, by the grace of John Bungie, are still rewarding to play. Grandmasters specifically tuned to the endgame loot farming that regular Nightfalls used to be in Destiny 1. The weapon pools aren't always great. The weapons they choose and their perks aren't the best. However, the ability to farm adept weapons, ascendant shards, upgrade materials, exotic armor, combined with everything else, is the only non-negative to this playlist. However, when I play a Grandmaster Nightfall or a Strike playlist, I expect to play a Nightfall or a Strike. However, Bungie feel the need to include Battlegrounds in these. This season it's PsyOps, last season it was Heist Battleground, which its inclusion was unexplainably bad considering how unbalanced it was. It was thrown in simply without any second thoughts, just so they can say that they weren't wasting their time making a season that was going to get removed in 3 months. That all being said, strikes are supposed to be one of the core pillars of Destiny, and Bungie have abdicated the responsibility to maintain and update a playlist that has existed since vanilla Destiny 1. The state of strikes is poor, deteriorating, and having its identity transformed daily by people who simply do not care. I have a little bit less to say about Gambit this time around, but to put it simply, Gambit has been forgotten, and it's been neglected, and it's in need of new content ASAP. When Beyond Light was released, Gambit Vanilla and Gambit Prime were merged into one single game mode. New Gambit is the best part of both worlds. It's my favorite game mode that still exists in Destiny, but it's been neglected severely. Gambit used to have 6 maps, 4 were released during Forsaken, 2 were released during Season of the Joker. Now it is 4. A new map has not been added to Gambit since June of 2019. I'm not even asking for a new map. I'm just asking for different maps to return. Just bring back the old ones. It gets boring playing the same 4 maps over and over, and even adding 2 new maps to add just a little bit of variety to the game would be amazing for the health of the game. It's better than nothing what I'm asking for at this point. To put it simply, besides the map pool problems, small balancing issues that come from it not having its own dedicated sandbox, and loot farming issues because of the amount of garbage that you can get out of Gambit without any real ability to specifically focus the things you want, Bungie have neglected Gambit in favor of paid content, which I understand, you need your game to make money. However, when you have a game mode like a Gambit that they themselves have said is one of the cores of their game, it cannot be neglected, forgotten, and the state of Gambit is most likely dead. The final of Destiny's core game modes is Crucible, and it's been neglected arguably the most out of anything since the release of Beyond Light. I don't even know where to begin. For starters, of the 33 maps that have ever been introduced into Destiny 2, 8 of them are vaulted. Of those 25 that are still playable, 12 are remakes of Destiny 1 maps, and of those remaining 13 original Destiny 2 maps that are still in the game, only 2 have been released since 2020. Just to say that again, in the past 3 years of content delivery, more maps have been removed from Destiny than have been added, and based on Bungie's current promise of adding new maps, it will take until 2027 to reach the total number of maps that should be in the game had they not made the horrendous decision to vault most of the game's content with the launch of Beyond Light. I'm only going to touch briefly on the loot pool for Crucible. It's 11 weapons long currently, nothing too special. They drop like hotcakes, unlike Gambit. They're a little bit easier to farm since most of the loot pool is focusable via shacks, and the perks you can get of them are more or less okay. Just know if I get a 13th Riptide in a row, I'm going to lose my mind. The competitive playlist, something new. It's gotten a massive overhaul since Vanilla Destiny 1. I personally think it's a good change. The rating system in my mind is fine. The only part of the playlist that I don't enjoy are the rewards. For the last 2 seasons, you can earn rows from playing competitive, but the drop rate has been too low for me to get even remotely close to what I'm after. This season, Rose was removed from the loot pool and replaced with the Mercurial Overreach. It's an okay gun, just in my mind, I'm not going to use it, and I have no real reason to be playing competitive since I'm not good enough to hit Ascendant, and even if I was, I don't think the emblem looks good anyway. So realistically, you're just playing the competitive playlist in Crucible for an emblem and a chance at a mid-tier sniper that there are better options for. I'm going to move on to Iron Banner now. It used to be great, really. Iron Banner used to come around a little less than once per month, and it was the talk of the town. You grabbed your buddies, you had a grand old time for the week, and by the time it was over, you had something to show for it. We used to get weapon sets that were brand new armor to chase, that had a great theme, and everything was stand out in its class. That is, until Shadowkeep, when the quality of new items being added to Iron Banner was decreased dramatically to 1 new item per season and 1 reprisal with a slightly updated loot pool. And that loot, in my mind, has been seriously disappointing, and it fails to deliver on the power fantasy that it used to. And talking about the actual gameplay of Iron Banner, of the 3 primary game modes, Zone Control, Fortress, and Eruption, I'm not even going to address the fiasco that was Khepri's Horn. Just watch this clip here. It speaks for itself.
Guys, you're here for Breaking Iron Banner. Marhovs found that using Khepri's Horn and the Suspend Barricade aspect on a control point.
But of the 3 game modes, Eruption by far is the worst. There's nothing fun about being punished for performing well. I understand you get your super a little bit quicker, but it's the antithesis of fun when everybody on the map is wall hacks and can see you when you're on a 4-player kill streak. It's a travesty that the COD Ghost cranked ripoff, it's still going strong. It should be failing, it should not be in the game. Zone Control and Fortress are 2 sides of the same coin, effectively the same game mode, with the exception of Fortress, there being the turrets on the map. I like Fortress more personally because of the comeback potential, but more often than not, matches turn into bubble spamming simulator, and it becomes nearly impossible to push onto a control point once the team actually controls it. All this being considered, the state of Iron Banner is that it's dying. There's no real reason to grind the game mode after the first week of a season or the first week of a new DLC year, because the loot being added isn't new or interesting. It's just remakes of old stuff that's being in, and once you actually have received those rewards, there's no reason to go back in. Maybe you want to grind 2 ranks to get your shader, maybe you want to grind to get your title, but other than that, it isn't fun to get hit with 5 bubbles per lobby when you're just trying to capture the fucking control point.
I got a bubble, everybody to my bubble! Yeah! La 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 la. Hey, I can't risk my body, so y'all gotta go kill those guys. Everybody else go kill them.
Well.
Last but not least, a game mode with a worse identity than Vanguard playlist, it's Trials of Osiris. I don't play a lot of Trials. I don't particularly like the game mode, but Trials is supposed to be the definitive endgame PvP experience. Everything a player that wants to play grinds towards is meant to be used and abused in Trials. But Bungie has a strange habit of making the best loot to use in Trials be acquired from the game mode itself. And this leads to strange, unbalanced games where by having gone flawless once, a player is by default better than virtually every other player just by having a specific weapon. This season, it's the Immortal. It used to be Shayub's Wrath or the Astral Horizon. It goes on and on. Every season, there's one thing from Trials that utterly breaks the game and becomes a gatekeeping mechanic for players that don't have it. This is particularly the fault of the Balance team, who, in my mind, don't have the resources or ability to keep a meta shifting and balanced more than a single time per season, and by the time they're actually to develop a balance patch, more weapons or perks is merged, it's too far, too late. They need more people to be able to test things ahead of time. Trials is also having a larger identity crisis due to the prevalence of needing to go flawless. I know, ironic considering the game mode about not getting beaten has a crisis because of people not getting beaten. Now this is fantastic for a player like me, somebody super casual who really doesn't have a lot of time to play the game but wants to get the best gear, and the new changes to the forgiveness ticket to allow 2 losses per first flawless of the week is very good, but most of what I've seen from the hardcore community is that they hate this because they see this as being able to take the easy way out of getting the flawless gear, and it takes away the prestige of the game mode in some of their eyes. So, these players stop playing, and the playlist has population issues, and these issues just compound. I already spoke briefly about the cheater issue in the server section of the video, but I will stress again that this is not normal. A game of Destiny 2's caliber should not be experiencing the amount of cheaters it is. Not a single healthy competitive game allows cheaters to run free while at the same time having instances of speedrunners getting banned for abusing mechanics that Bungie has not patched out of the game. Just look at this clip here. This is a man, verified, you cannot do this without cheating. He is still playing the game. His account isn't banned, and he's ruining countless players' Trials tickets every single day. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy who hates playing Trials because seemingly once every 2 cards my experience is ruined by a cheater. Either that, or I have the worst teammates known to man because I'm just going to cut this short. I'm only on chapter 2 of 5. The state of Trials is confused and its players are suffering. Bungie doesn't know what they want to do with the game mode. Whether it's for casuals, whether it's for hardcores, whether it's supposed to be a middling experience, whether it's supposed to be the endgame definitive PvP experience, they don't know. I don't know, but it can't be for everyone, and Bungie haven't recognized that yet. What do Festival of the Lost, The Dawning, Solstice of Heroes, and Guardian games have in common? All of them are stale, overused, and in desperate need of replacement. Around 4 years ago, you start to notice a pattern here. It all starts when Bungie parts way with Activision. Bungie decided that the best way to save time and most notably money was to reuse the same 4 events all year round. We used to get some cool stuff like Crimson Days, The Revelry, SRL, Queen's Wrath, and now we have a shambolic mess that is Destiny 2's current seasonal event rotation. The main point that I want to make is that once you've done one of these events a single time, that's it. You're done. There's nothing new year to year. The events have been same and stale since 2019, with the sole exception of Guardian games being added in 2020 to replace the Revelry. And I can say with confidence that these events have not changed their core gameplay loop a single time. Not once has there been any experimentation that would encourage me to play these events for another year. You play these events with your wallet, not through actual gameplay. Solstice of Heroes has reused the same European aerial zone every year, just to stand still, kill things, or throw ball simulator. Festival of the Lost is just reskinned Lost sectors. It used to be cool with what they did with the Infinite Forest, but Bungie decided they wanted to remove that from the game in 2020. So now we have Haunted Lost sectors, which are neither fun or scary. Guardian games is even worse than these because it's just the regular game modes, except you earn medals to put in the tower, and then which you argue about it on Twitter and complain why warlocks are screwed, or how titans are underrepresented, or how hunters are perfect and the best master race and are flawless every way. Hunter main, by the way, we should have won it in 2020 if Bungie just left the damn count alone, but instead they wanted to ignore the fact the hunters had the most players. Anyway, and Dawning is probably the most interesting because the cookie crafting system being fast for great loot, and most of the weapons you get out of it are very usable throughout the entire year. However, it's just as repetitive as the other 3 events with no unique gameplay experience to really sink your teeth into besides earning consumables to then craft cookies with. Quite frankly, since 2019, the State of Destiny 2 events, it's stale. It's boring, reused content year after year that just causes drama over the lack of content, the lack of innovation, and the abundance of paid content through the Games Pass or the Eververse store. It's just infuriating. I'm just going to step back for 1 second and just see what the Destiny community's reaction to everything going wrong with Destiny is. This very scientific snapshot of the community leaders speaks volumes to their feelings, but what I think is more damning is simply looking at Steam player charts and YouTube and Twitch viewer ratings. Starting off with the Steam charts, we can see Destiny as usual, even flow of players. Whenever major content drops, it goes up, it goes down, it ebbs and weaves, just as you would expect for any game. People move on when they get bored. However, what's different this time around is that Lightfall came out in March of 2023, and it's only taken 4 months for the game to drop to a place where there is only less than 50,000 players a day. Normally, this takes up to 9 months, as you can see with both Witch Queen and Beyond Light. It took from February until November for both of those expansions to fall below 50,000 players, and those were during some of the worst seasons we have ever gotten. Season of the Plunder during Witch Queen and Season of the Lost during Beyond Light. Normally, player counts wouldn't be this low and wouldn't be concerning because of ebbs and flows, but when the Twitch and YouTube numbers factor into this, you can clearly see that casuals, that the consumers, that the hardcore player base, people are losing interest, and it's Bungie's fault to play for this. Twitch viewer ratings shed a different light on this, with an average 30-day viewer rating of around 5,800 as the time of recording this video. People are just losing interest. Seasonal events don't bring enough to the game to justify playing. The DLC and seasons are treated as one continuous experience, so there's no real reason to jump in at a specific point in time when Bungie advertises their own game and their own game story as being ongoing through the year. To put it simply, the community is angry. Just go ask anyone who actually plays this game more than 8 hours a week to talk to them and to think what they think about this game, and most people will have a vocal anti-Destiny, anti-Bungie sentiment, and it's sifting, it's simmering into the online space with Destiny's own content creators, the people who they trust the most to promote the game, are speaking out against Bungie and their practices. Now we're going to move out to my favorite part of this video, to the script. I've spent the past around 24 minutes shitting on Bungie and shitting on Destiny as a video game for not living up to the promise that was sold to us in 2014. Now, I'm going to cover what I think the future of Destiny is and how I think that we as a community can act in the meantime. For starters, I have a lot of hope for this game, not because I trust the management of Bungie, but because I do trust the people who developed this game. I trust in their ability to make good content when they have accurate direction. We've seen it over and over again with tiny slivers of greatness, muddied by mediocrity and bad business decisions. I'm not a doomsayer. I don't think for 1 second that Bungie's going to abandon Destiny. They're going to continue to make content for the game so long as it makes them money. Marathon or Project Matter will not kill Destiny. The only thing that could kill Destiny at this point are its players. Not spending money on the game, and Bungie have perfected their content formula to maximize profit for the least amount of work. So what do we do as a community while we wait? Since that's the only thing we can do. Wait. For starters, don't be quiet. Be active in your communities, in the forums, in the game, on Twitter. Advocate for the better future that you want to see this game grow into. Do not go quietly into the night regretting wish you had done more. Additionally, you either keep playing the game or you don't. I personally took a break from Destiny, dropping my average time on the game from 20 hours a week to a little over 5 while I try new things. You should too. Go play different games. Go outside, exercise, touch fucking grass. If playing Destiny in its current state brings you so much anguish that you feel need to threaten the devs on Twitter, then maybe you're part of the problem. At the same time, just wait. Seasons don't last forever. DLC years don't last forever. We're going to be getting a new one that promises a new seasonal gameplay loop, at least according to Joe Blackburn. If you believe him, it's going to be a little bit different this time around. Another thing to wait for is the Final Shape Showcase. We got a nice teaser for Final Shape a few weeks ago during the PlayStation Showcase, and Bungie have an incredibly talented marketing department, which I totally do not beef with on Twitter and in DMs because of their marketing practices, because their marketing practices are just phenomenal. The showcase is going to be on August 22nd, and we should be getting a new season on that very day, which is going to have a reprised raid in it. Crossing my fingers, toes, clenching my cheek, balls for Wrath the Machine to return as the raid. I'm not coping, you're coping. And in any case, the state of Destiny's future is full of potential. This game has always had potential. It just needs the right heads making the decisions to unlock it. Bungie, looking for a new director? You know me. I'm your guy. Hit me up. In the end, Destiny is a game that I love. I love the universe that has me spending days reading Grimoire, watching videos, making theories, and having detailed discussions with my friends on the nature of its universe. I love the gameplay, a mix of an FPS and a looter shooter that never fails to deliver a high-octane experience that has so much to sink your teeth into when the system is firing on all cylinders. I love this community, hunting for secrets, coming together for good causes, hunkering down for days at a time to participate in raid races, the feelings, the experience, the newcomers. Destiny is something special, and I wouldn't be making this if I didn't care. And unfortunately, my assessment is that the state of Destiny is poor. There's no denying it. This game is in poor shape. Its systems break almost every day. Its community is outraged and more divided than ever, and its future is bleak outside of the Final Shape. Bungie has some serious work to do, but I think that in the end, with the right direction, that it can be done and that this game is worth fighting for. In the end, this video took a little longer to make than I would have liked it to, so please like, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think that I got right, I got wrong, what your thoughts and feelings on the current state of Destiny is, what you'd like to see Bungie be doing differently. Please, anything. I read all the comments all the time. In any case, thank you for watching.